ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of this great text, Vivekachudamani, authored by Adi Shankaracharya and taught to us so compassionately and systematically by our wonderful dear Guru Swami Paramarthananda. We must remember, it would be worthwhile remembering the definition given out by Swami Paramarthananda for the word Viveka. It would be worth the while to revisit the definition given out by Swamiji for the word Viveka that occurs in the name of the text, Vivekachudamani. Swamiji gave out three meanings. The first meaning that he gave out was Viveka stood for or stands for Viveka Shakti, the faculty of discrimination, the discriminative faculty that Ishvara has blessed all of us human beings with. Viveka Shakti. The second meaning that Swamiji gave out was that Viveka stood for Viveka Shakti Vyaparaha. Viveka Shakti Vyaparaha, meaning employing the correct, the proper employment of this Viveka Shakti that we have been blessed with. And the third meaning that Swamiji gave out was Viveka Shakti Vyapara Janita Viveka Jnanam. Viveka Shakti Vyapara Janita Viveka Jnanam was the third meaning that Swamiji gave out. Of these three meanings, Swamiji said, we will be using the second and third meanings, meaning Viveka Shakti Vyaparaha and Viveka Shakti Vyapara Janita Viveka Jnanam. Because we take for granted that all of us have been blessed with Viveka Shakti, which is the first meaning. So that is taken for granted. Hence, Swamiji specifically mentions that we will be using only the second and the third meanings. Viveka Chudamani. Chudamani is the second part of that great title, of this great title. Viveka and then Chudamani. Chudamani is the crest jewel that is worn by our traditional women on the forehead, right there, practically on the top of our heads, of their heads. And therefore, and the Chudamani shines brilliantly. Like the Chudamani shining brilliantly, our Viveka Shakti too must shine brilliantly by way of Viveka Shakti Vyapara and Viveka Shakti Vyapara Janita Jnanam. We must put to good use, positive good use of this God given Shakti, because this is the only thing, only faculty that differentiates us human beings from animals. You might remember this favorite shloka of Swamiji's: Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maithunam Cha Samanyam Pashubhir Naranam. The next two lines are the lines that actually capture the essence of the speciality of human janma. Buddhir hi tesham adhiko vishesha. And then the fourth line really drives home the point and says, Buddhya vihinaha pashubhis samana. It means that even after being blessed with Viveka Shakti, vihinaha does not mean without Viveka Shakti. It means that you have not put to use, optimal use of this God given faculty. Buddhya vihinaha pashubhis samana. Even in this human body, you will be considered equal to an animal. Let alone God saying to himself, well, in this Janma, this fellow didn't use my gift to him properly, and therefore let me give him an animal birth in the next Janma, in which his buddhi faculty will be stultified. So, Chudamani, Viveka Chudamani means that Viveka Shakti that is shining in one's intellect as brightly as the Chudamani. It should shine. And how must it be made to shine? By giving it a nice rub. Give it a nice rub. You have to churn it. You have to polish it. How do you polish it? As we saw, as we have been studying, Shankaracharya used the word Panditaha. A Panditaha must polish his Viveka Shakti by utilizing certain tools that our Shastras present us. Whether you use traditional tools like Tarka, Vyakarana, or Mimamsa, or any other modern tools, it doesn't matter. As long as your effort is to sharpen your intellect and make it available to receive the Shastras and Guru's divine words. And what kind of words are they? They are words that reveal, that help us discover our higher, immaculate, supreme, infinite, eternal, all pervading selves. Self, self in singular, always. So that is why the intellect needs to be prepared. Why are traditional methods recommended? Because in our tradition, everything is done in a prayerful mode. Everything is dedicated unto Ishvara. There's a certain bhavana, there's a certain attitude that is brought in when we study traditional ways of cultivating our Viveka Shakti. That is the main reason. Shraddha and Bhakti are inculcated along with the study of Tarka, Vyakarana, and Mimamsa. There's a prayer right at the beginning. There's a Mangala Shloka at the beginning of all these traditional texts. After all this knowledge has come down from Ishvara and Ishvari, Saraswati Mata, who is an embodiment of wisdom. We begin our study with a prayer, end our study with a prayer of thankfulness. A lot of divinity involved in traditional study. That is why in a traditional Gurukulam setup, students are put through such texts to inculcate in them a certain approach that will remain in the personality, that which is crucial at the time of studying the Upanishads and the Upanishad based texts like Vivekachudamani. In the 10th shloka of Vivekachudamani, which I will read once and then pick up the thread from where we left. Sanyasya sarva karmani bhava bandha vimuktaye yatyatam panditair dhiraihi atmabhyasa upasthitaihi. In this shloka, we were looking at how Shankaracharya and Swami Paramarthananda explained the word panditaha very extensively because it's very important. A panditaha ought to be a viveki. He should understand, he should be able to apply himself to the teaching that he has received. A Viveki is not just at the Vedanta level, a Viveki is even at the Veda Purva level. He needs to discern what is the inner message that the Vedas want to convey to us by way of the practice of the Panchamahayajnas, the Upasanas, the Ekarupa Upasana, Anekarupa Upasana, Ahangraha Upasana, etc. So one needs to be discerning even at that level, even at the Veda Purva level, let alone be discerning at the Veda Anta level. So, it is essential to truly grasp and embody the teachings of Vedanta. And what else is required? Shankaracharya says, Dhiraihi. You've seen all this in the previous capsule. A person not only must be a Viveki, but Vivekajanya Vairagyam must be a natural consequence or will be a natural consequence. The Vairagyam towards the ephemeral and Mumukshutvam towards the eternal. A seeker of moksha must he be. The seeker should approach Vedanta not just as an academic pursuit, but with a sense of inner turmoil and genuine longing for liberation. We saw how a mumukshu must graduate to become a jignasu and then quickly progress to become a susrushu. We've seen all this in the last capsule. This existential awareness and desperation can foster a deeper and more meaningful engagement with Vedanta. The more Tivaram the Mumukshutvam is, the more committed will we be to the study of Vedanta. Because Mumukshutvam is a direct result of Viveka. Atma Anatma Viveka is the foundation for everything to be built up. The level of Mumukshutvam will be determined by the level of Viveka, the level of understanding of what is to be summarily rejected and what is to be totally accepted. Without Viveka, Mumukshutvam will only be Madhyama or even Manda Mumukshutvam. We saw how Arjuna, in spite of having been a great achiever, is not able to get rid or do away with the sorrow and confusion, moha that was engulfing him in the midst of the battlefield. In spite of Arjuna being a man of great accomplishment, his external accomplishments, could do nothing about raga, shoka, and moha that he was, his mind was filled with attachment, attachment leading to sorrow and delusion that was looming large in his understanding, that made him think that his happiness was dependent on a few people and things around him. He didn't know that happiness is an independent factor which is unconditional. He didn't know all this. He thought that his happiness was dependent on the Bhishmas and the Dronas being alive. And therefore, he would have to forego his happiness When they passed on the battlefield, and therefore he said, I won't fight. He became such a strong Arjuna, became a weakling. He became a victim of his raga, of his shoka, and his moha. All that, one's wealth, health, family relationships, possessions, profession, and everything else, all other anatmas can only provide temporary relief measures. They are not an end in themselves. They are only they only serve to provide first aid. They are not the medicine. The medicine lies in understanding the eternal as taught by the Guru based on the Shastras. Thus, except Vedanta, all other medicines are palliatives. Is what we saw in the last capsule, providing temporary relief. And therefore, a seeker should be driven by the awareness of samsara, a thorough study of samsara, the problem of samsara, cycle of suffering, mumukshutvam, a strong longing for liberation. Not only mumukshutvam, not just mumukshutvam, tivra mumukshutvam, an intense yearning for freedom. As Swamiji would say, if your hair is on fire and you're looking for any source of water to douse that fire, would you even think twice to jump into the Kuam river? No way. I just jump. That's it. That should be the driving force. Your head should be on fire. Only then you will approach the study of Vedanta seriously, committedly, and be ready to go the whole distance, however long it takes, how many ever janmas it may take. I don't care. I have committed myself, I have surrendered my entire personality to Vedanta. Only then will you see the effects of such study. We will continue this important discussion and take it forward in the upcoming capsules. Hari Om.